Good day and welcome to Drew's Book Reviews. So with the release of the Stormlight Archive Book 4, Rhythm of War, I thought I would have fun doing a little video series here, new on the channel, about the characters of the Stormlight Archive. So here you go, here's the first video in a new series about the characters of my favorite ongoing fantasy series, and today's video is all about Kaladin. Stay tuned. Kaladin's story starts at home in Hearthstone, where he grew up under the tutelage of his father, Lirin. He is learning to become a surgeon, becoming practiced and educated in the arts of healing. This is the foundation of his life, where he learns the importance of protecting and caring for others, and will later on prove to be pivotal in the experiences that will soon come his way as he grows as an individual and as life really comes at him hardcore. This is the beginning of his adventures, learning to become a surgeon under the tutelage of his father, Lirin. This is where it all starts for Kaladin Stormblessed. Kaladin's father, Lirin, he is of the second dawn of the Dark Eyes, which is basically just a few levels below the first light-eyed level. So this kind of gives him a privilege, not just in terms of his position as a surgeon, but upon the death of the city lord Wisto, he comes into possession of a rather large amount of spheres. This makes him relatively rich. This is a fortune of spheres that he has come across, and a lot of scrutiny comes on him for this. The mystery of how did he get a hold of it. He insists that it was given as a gift by the Bright Lord, but of course this isn't believed. A lot of suspicion is cast onto Kaladin's family because of this sudden inheritance of a significant amount of spheres. Now Kaladin's little brother Tien, he's an innocent boy who sees the world with wonder. Even the smallest things, like a simple little rock or pebble that he finds, brings him such joy and wonder, and Kaladin is driven to protect his brother in order to keep him safe from harm. But this is not something that he finds he's going to be able to do. This is the first real challenge that Kaladin comes along in his efforts to protect others, when he soon learns that he cannot keep everybody safe, that he cannot protect others all the time. And this is the first real difficult and tough lesson that Kaladin must learn in his efforts to protect his little brother. As the new city lord can do nothing against Kaladin's family, he does what he can to make life as difficult as possible. And soon, Kaladin finds that his little brother has been forcibly conscripted into Bright Lord Amaran's army and sent into the military to fight the battles against enemies, something that his little brother simply could never handle. With Tien going off to war, Kaladin soon follows and joins himself up to the army as well, all in an effort to protect his brother, because he knows his brother couldn't possibly manage to protect himself or survive in this military. It's just not within Tien's ability to think like a soldier. But then Kaladin's worst nightmare happens. His brother falls in battle on the field, and Kaladin could not protect him. This is the first tragedy that Kaladin must now face and deal with. He went off to war, not to reject his father's teachings, not to reject what his father had in mind for him, but to protect his brother, whom could not protect himself. And the tragedy happens. His brother falls, and this is the first painful lesson that Kaladin must now face in his life as he continues to struggle with the loss of his brother throughout the rest of his life. But that was only the first of many, many tragedies that happened to poor Kaladin. On the battlefield, he saves Amaran's life, and he ends up killing a shard bearer on the field of battle. By rights, the shards in the plate should be his. But no, that does not happen. You see, he is betrayed. He's betrayed by the very lord for which he was fighting, and he is cast down effectively. His shards are stolen. He is branded a slave. And now He has lost all hope. He lost his brother. He's effectively lost his family. He's lost all privilege. Being in the military comes with it. He's branded a slave, and now he is sent off and sold into slavery, into a situation which seems completely hopeless, for there's no more hope for Kaladin at this point. This is the beginning of his most deepest sorrow on his journey throughout this entire story arc. As Kaladin is being transported across Roshar in the slave wagons and caravan, he slowly comes to know a strange Spren by the name of Syl. This is an odd Spren who seems to follow Kaladin wherever he goes, but only he can see her. She eventually becomes his companion throughout the rest of the story and serves a vital role in the overall story arc of the Stormlight Archive. This Sylphrenia, or Syl for short, whom follows him and becomes his companion, Kaladin's only hope and only companionship, and really his only connection that he has left to him in all the world. Eventually, Kaladin arrives on the Shattered Plains, where the war camps of the 10 High Princes are fighting this ongoing war in this game against the Parshendi, the Shattered Plains being this broken and destroyed land, completely desolate wasteland, but where the Chasm Fiends live and they can harvest their gem herds for treasure as they continue to fight the Parshendi on these Shattered Plains that dominate this area of the world. Kaladin is assigned to a bridge crew, specifically Bridge 4. This is the worst of the bridge crews. They are a crew of slaves that are there for the sole purpose of being the target of Parshendi arrows and carrying these massive bridges across the chasms and the Shattered Plains. These bridges are there to help the army cross the Shattered Plains over the chasms so that they might meet with their enemies, the Parshendi, and harvest the gem hearts of the great Chasm Fiend beasts. The life of a bridgeman is hard. It is without hope. It is destitute. It is desperate. It is the lowest of the low, as far as you can go. Out on the Shattered Plains, there is a place for these desperate men to go, called the Honor Chasm. It is called the Honor Chasm to give it some sense of nobility to ending their lives in the depths of misery and pain and depression that they are suffering as being part of this bridge crew. Now, one thing that I think Brandon Sanderson has done really well with this is he's really highlighted the desperation of Kaladin in this moment of his greatest despair, and really tapping into what it means to be a depressed and suffer from a depression so great that you would want to kill yourself and end your miserable, sorry existence. Kaladin has come to the deepest depths of his despair, determined to end it all. Why? What's the point? His life is miserable. There's nothing worth living for. He's gone from being a surgeon with his father to losing his brother. His entire family's been destroyed. He's been betrayed by the Light Eyes. He's got nothing left to live for, and now he's just a slave, forced into the life of a bridgeman with nothing to hope for, as nothing more than fodder for the enemy to shoot, kill, and destroy. Why? Why continue on? As at this point of his highest and most desperate desperation, that his longtime companion, Syl, makes an appearance to him, asking, why? Why do you want to do this, Kaladin? Surely you've got something to live for. And it is through Syl, and this very, very powerful moment, that Kaladin realizes that there is something to live for, that his life isn't meaningless, and that he's got the lives of the bridge crew, his new companions, and he needs to do something to make their lives better so that his life has some purpose, some meaning left after all that he's been through. And his final hope rests in a group of men that are just as desperate, just as depressed, and just as hopeless as he himself has become in his slavery. Reinvigorated with new hope, Kaladin brings himself up from the edge of his despair and the edge of the honor chasm. And while his life is still unchanged, he is still a bridgeman, he is still a slave, he realizes that he needs to pick himself up because of Syl, because of his companion who has reached out to him in his most desperate time of need. And he picks himself up and makes his way back to the war camp with a renewed desire, renewed motivation to do better and to make the best of his horrible situation in which he finds himself. And while nothing has changed, this is the beginning of the greatest and most tremendous change in his life that Kaladin could ever possibly imagine. This is the beginning of his change from being just a slave to something dramatically more than a slave. Taking everyone from his bridge 4, and going and focusing, he begins to train them. Bridge 4, formerly the most desperate, wretched, useless group of men on the Parshendi plains where they're fighting for their lives on the Shattered Plains against the Parshendi, Kaladin begins to pick up and become a leader. He is the leader of Bridge 4, and he begins to work with this desperate group of men to train them to be better than their lot in life, to build that camaraderie and that brothership and that kinship with the other members of Bridge 4, so that they too might have hope once again in their lives. And while they're still bridgemen, they are still slaves. Life is not easy. Kaladin, through his sheer force of will and determination, he focuses on making things better, on training them to survive their bridge runs, rather than risking death on every run and having such a high probability of death on each and every bridge run. Kaladin trains Bridge 4, and they become an elite force. They become an elite group of tightly knitted and bonded group of brothers who are no longer a hopeless group because of Kaladin's leadership, where he comes into his leadership because of the inspiration of Syl and his bonding with the Spren Syl, which is the very beginning of his journey towards becoming what he is destined to become. One fateful bridge run, Kaladin has soon discovered that Dalinar has been betrayed. Dalinar is one of the high princes, uncle to the king. He's been betrayed by Sadeas, which is the army in which Kaladin and his bridge crew, they are operating within. He's been betrayed by Sadeas, left to die by their enemies, the Parshendi, and this betrayal leaves Dalinar with no hope of survival, and the only ones that can save him are the now highly trained, highly motivated, and dedicated Bridge 4. So they turn around and they rescue Dalinar and his army from the betrayal of Sadeas. Because of this unique act of bravery for the bridgemen, Dalinar recognizes Bridge 4 for the unique and different type of bridge crew that they are. They are rewarded and become the elite guards of Dalinar and his family because of Kaladin's leadership. But this is only the beginning of where Kaladin's journey is going to take him. Bridge 4 is now an elite fighting force because of the actions and leadership of Kaladin. He has proven himself a strong leader. He has proven himself worthy of trust. And this is only the beginning. Because Kaladin and his Spren, Syl, he has bonded her, and they have become a very powerful force for Kaladin, who is growing in these newfound powers that enable him to fly and lash things, which basically change the directional force in which things fall, so we could lash them up, down, to the side, and basically change the way things fall, giving him control of the objects around him. Kaladin has become the first of what will soon be many of a new order of Knights Radiant. Formerly abandoned by the Heralds, the Knights Radiant became corrupt in times past, but they must now return, and Kaladin is the first of many to return and become of the new order of the Knights Radiant. This is the beginning of Kaladin's epic journey through the Stormlight Archive, and he is honestly one of my favorite characters, along with a few others such as Syl and Dalinar and Shallan and Yasna, but those will be for other videos. This one being about Kaladin, his epic journey, the beginning of his epic journey into becoming a Knight's Radiance. This is Kaladin Stormblessed, and he is just a phenomenal, amazing character. And I'm absolutely loving his character in the Stormlight Archive. So there you have it. There is my brief summary of Kaladin's journey through the Stormlight Archive to becoming a Knight's Radiant and the beginning of his overall journey. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I hope you comment, like, subscribe, and I hope to continue to make more videos like this. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and of course you can also hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. I do have a Discord now, so feel free to join me there. Although, right now, not a lot going on in the Discord, but hey, that can change. And hopefully, as if we get more people in there, we could have some good conversations about the Stormlight Archive and everything else. So again, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye.